Hi, positive, progressive people looking to be empowered. And if you're not looking to be empowered, this is probably not the podcast for you, the video podcast for you. And today I have someone who's going to help us deal with a lot of the um, issues that are happening around us, help us to keep from losing our mind in these troubled times, hopefully. Dr. Franzeska Sampson. How are you doing, Dr. Sampson?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. It's my privilege to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, my name is Kamal Austin, and I'm the publisher of the Scoop on Black News, the Black News Scoop, and our flagship publication, the Southeast Queens Scoop. And we are here to talk to Dr. Sampson about the important issue of mental health. Dr. Sampson is somebody who's a professor and educator in the social work realm. So she has a background in mental health, but also she has the capacity and the skills with social work to actually not only help us with our mental health, but with our mental health, but also to help us utilize different things, strategies, and programs out there that can help us. So you're doing well, Dr. Sampson?
Yes, the best as I can.
Okay, okay. Well, I gotta be honest with you, Dr. Sampson. I'm not doing too well.
Oh,
Okay. I no, no, these are some stressful times for me. I have to admit.
mhm.
And I would admit, I would admit not just for me, but people that I know, senior citizens. I'm a senior citizen myself, and I just, worked out getting my Social Security at 67 years of age, and because of that, I finally got it because I was sick dealing with different forms of cancer and other things. So what happened was that the last few years I was really too sick to
Mm.
really work on getting my Social Security. And I finally got it. And we got this administration now that's talking about, getting rid of Medicare and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. But before we get all into that,
Yeah.
Dr. Sampson, first, I want to get into your business.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when I say business, I'm not talking traditional business. I'm talking business. Your personal business a little bit, okay?
Okay.
and and so what the first question I like to ask is, can you give us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and that type of stuff, and what led you into the field of social work?
Sure. So, as you stated in the introduction, I'm Dr. Sampson Backus. Most people refer to me as Dr. Sampson because I got married after I got my accolades. So, asking people to change that. So,
Right.
Dr. Sampson. But I was born in the Caribbean. I was born in Guyana, South America. Came to United States at the age of 15.
Hmm.
From there, went to high school. I had parents who are pro education. So there was no excuse to not get an education. You had no choice but to go to school, do
Hmm.
well, not just go to school, but go to school and do well and excel.
Right.
Initially, my interest was not in social work. First, I wanted to be a journalist, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Then I wanted to be a nurse.
Hmm.
So first started my career, my educational career, I pursue biology because you have to do biology prior to getting into the nursing. So I
Hmm.
started biology and then, as I'm progressing in these courses, I realized that nursing is really not for me. I don't like the hands-on, but I do like talking to people. I like sharing their stories. I like coming up with solutions and all of that. So I was sharing this, sharing my revelation to someone. And they say, "Hey, you sound like a potential social worker. Why not try social work?" I'm like,
Hmm.
social work? I don't want to go take away nobody's children because that's the misconception about social work in
Hmm.
society. So they
Right.
said,
Right.
no, that's not what it's about. Just try. So I tried. I took a class. In this class, we had to actually go and interview a social worker to see what the field is actually like. And I got a full revelation. Social work is not about taking away people's children. I mean, we have micro, meso, and macro levels. So we can work with individual, you can work with groups, we can work on a policy perspective. And I jump into the social work field. I've worked with a variety of populations, starting with youths in foster care,
Hmm.
providing counseling to them so that they can remain stable in the community.
Right.
I've worked with homeless families, families, single men, single women. And then from that, I jumped into academia. So now I'm in academia. I'm teaching social work, and I've also taught sociology at Grand Canyon University. So I've taught sociology at Grand Canyon University, and that's in the online platform. And currently I'm at Medgar Evers as a full-time faculty teaching and also serving as the field education director in the social work program. So that's a
Yeah.
little about me.
Well, your background and the things, the different uh, groups that you've worked to help in the past speaks volumes about you, says a lot about you as a person.
Thank you.
You know, shortly, can you tell me how, or you started out as a social worker, what sort of moved you in the direction of being a professor and educator in the field?
Well, initially, the social work field is so broad that, and this is what I tell my students, you can start out in child welfare and then end up in medical social work. But as I was teaching, as I was working in these different realms, I realized, I didn't want to do the hands-on anymore because how it was impacting my mental health.
Hmm.
Working with families, experiencing crisis and being in that situation day after day after day, it was pretty much impacting my mental health. So I wanted to go more in a teaching realm where I can teach and train and empower new social workers on what's out there and how you can take care of yourself. And not just that, continue to educate myself. So I just wanted to shift my career and also worked in a realm that's not so overwhelming for me.
Hmm.
So that's
That
why I
makes
switched to
sense.
academia.
Right. And then no, I noticed that you also, uh, moved in the direction of starting your own nonprofit.
Right.
Um, yeah. So how does your nonprofit uniquely, help people with their mental health issues?
So primary, we focus on religious institutions.
Hmm.
We try to break that stigma that you can pray and
Hmm.
you can still seek a therapist.
Right.
And that was pretty much from my observation. A lot of times when you go and you find a therapist, they may not incorporate religion into
Hmm.
the therapy session unless it's requested. Also, if you're going to a church setting, in a synagogue, wherever, you don't hear much about mental health, and it's needed, especially in such a climate as this, with everything that you mentioned that's going on. So my business focus on the whole well-being, a holistic being. So being well holistically, taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. So that can be a self-care practice that can be pretty much just pampering yourself. It can be taking therapy or it can be just taking a walk. So we look at the whole being. We do it through workshops. We do it through materials such as book publications. We do counseling, referring to clinical therapy, and
Right.
so we collaborate with different organizations just to get the word out.
Hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha. Wow. And the name of your organization is Taking Care of Our Mental Health, right?
That's correct.
TCOOMH, Taking Care of Our Mental Health.
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay. So now I wanted to ask you because I grew up in the church myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Bible school first,
Yeah.
and because of certain things that were happening socially at the time, I eventually ended up in a church that was very community active. And then I went to college to take biblical studies. but
Okay.
my minor was psychology, right? So I somewhat understand the integration. I'm obviously not a professional like yourself, but and then when I also when I took a seminary program
Mhm.
in Christian ministry, there was focus put on counseling also. So I appreciate the fact that you go into the churches and you try to make them aware of the fact that yeah, you can pray, but there are things that you can do, um, as far as your mental wellness that
Yeah.
enhances your connection relationship to others and to God also,
Good.
yeah, and actually it helped me because I have a daughter. She's on the autism spectrum,
Mm.
and maybe I might touch upon that a little later in the interview.
Okay.
But me and her are doing this read through the Bible. I read through the Bible a number of times myself, but now she kept asking me. So now we're reading through the Bible. It's ironic because I wondered when she was small and she's on the autism spectrum, would she ever understand the concept of God and the
Mm.
nuances and all that kind of stuff? But here she is. She wants to read the Bible, and as a person's going to seminary, she pardon the colloquialism, she spits out some pretty heavy theology sometimes.
Mm.
2 weeks ago, I told her she gave one of the best prayers because we pray together. She gave one of the best prayers I've ever heard. But
Wow.
anyway,
Yeah.
what I want to touch on is an important topic. This is women's history and empowerment.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell women. I'm honest about it. I was not always the most um, enlightened man when it came to women. Okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying I'm the most enlightened now, but over the years, what I've learned to appreciate, I just tell men right out, women are the glue that holds our community together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Many times they are the caretakers,
Yeah.
and in life, I mean, whether you're a man or woman, when everybody else and everything seems to be going against you,
Yeah.
God will be on your side, but God will work many times through a woman to help
Mhm.
you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I just want to put that on the table. But in realizing that, I noticed with your organization, you talk about how women give out so much to help
Mhm.
others, and a lot of times they're empty. They
Mhm.
give out so much that they're empty themselves now because
Mhm.
they've given so much to others. And you, in your organization, you try to really help women to have good mental health and a balance of wellness and other things. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you do that?
Yeah, sure. So we all have different callings, right?
Hmm.
The callings on my life, I believe, is to empower women. And
Hmm.
I'm saying this very, with a smile on my face. But when God revealed that to me initially, I'm like, God, you have the wrong person. I
Hmm.
said, you have the wrong person because women have a love-hate relationship with me. And I resisted that initially.
Hmm.
And when I resisted that, I felt like there was a void. There was a void. The things that I loved doing for women, I was holding back just because God told me that there was a calling on my life to empower women.
Hmm.
So I resisted for a minute. And then after a while, I'm like, you know what? Let me just do it. Let me do it. And I started empowering women, particularly not only exclusively, but particularly Black and minority women
Hmm.
because we have so much, we endure so much. Our struggles is not the same as other races. Not saying they don't have struggles, but our struggles are not the same. And a
Right.
lot of times we are pouring from an empty cup, right? And
Exactly.
we're depleted and we still go. And then a lot of times we don't have people to pour back into us. Even
Right.
myself as a social worker, a lot of times I give and I give and I give, and I'm depleted.
Hmm.
So I try to help women recognize that, listen, a lot of times self-care don't mean anything big. A lot of times self-care can just be taking a nap, turning your phone off, taking time for you. The same love and care and nourishment that you're going to pour into your kids, take a day to pour it back into yourself. And you know what? You're better for them. You're not only better for yourself, but you're better for them. And
Hmm.
another thing is too, a lot of times women don't tap into their own strengths.
Mm.
They focus on the negative. They focus on, oh, I didn't do this. I could have done that. What if, what if? But what are you doing right now? What is it you can celebrate about yourself right now? A lot of times there's so much focus on the negative. I do an icebreaker in my class. One of my classes, I says, tell me something positive about yourself. And a lot of times they struggle with that.
Wow.
But if I say, tell me something negative about yourself, I can hear three, four, five things easily right off the bat.
Are you kidding?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So I try
Wow.
to help women tap into those strengths. And a lot of times, sometimes we have strengths that we haven't even birthed it as yet. There's still
Hmm.
strengths that are waiting. There's still gifts and talents that are still waiting, still brewing inside of us. And it just takes someone to actually highlight that or point that out, bring it to the surface, and then let that person work on it. So I try to support all of those areas in women. And in the end, we empower each other. It's not only me empowering them, but it's they empowering me as well. So it's a
Hmm.
collective relationship. And it's been working well. It's been working well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, you gave us some examples of different things women might do.
Yeah.
You said it could just be something as simple as a nap, turning the
Yeah.
phone off and doing
Yeah.
and things like that. Um, in the time we have left, let me see if I can sort of put two questions together, right?
Right.
Because I don't know about my readers and my viewers, but I'm very concerned because even today I could tell I was getting stressed out, right?
Mhm.
Given this political environment where you see people, you see billionaires, right,
Yes.
looking to go after programs
Yeah.
that cut back on medical for children, for like I have a daughter on the autism spectrum. She gets certain services. Those
Yeah.
things are under a microscope now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they are.
She's a young lady, and she goes to a program for young people to help them, people on the autism spectrum and other challenges,
Yeah.
go, get jobs and have housing and all that kind of stuff. She's in that kind of program.
Yeah.
That may be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
My medical, who knows? My Social Security, usually I get my Social Security deposit by today. It hasn't come
Mhm.
today, you know.
It's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there's just a lot of other problems. We have people who are who are migrants here, who
Hmm.
who have legal status, and people are showing up in the night with
Yes.
hoods on,
Yes.
and taking them to places, and nobody knows where they're taking them.
Yeah.
It may take weeks later or days later.
Yeah.
So we're in. I hate to put all this on you, but
No,
can
it's
you
it's
just
true. It's our current climate.
yeah, I know you don't have all the answers, but
Mhm.
what would you suggest for people in these very trying times for us not to lose our minds? I mean, what would you suggest for us to do? Simple things.
I think first of all, people have to know their rights. You have
Hmm.
to know, you have to read more. Reading is not a scary thing. And a lot of people do
Hmm.
not read. So I think the
Right.
first thing people need to do is know their rights. So
Hmm.
when you know their rights and you're faced with these obstacles, at least you know what option to turn to.
Hmm.
You know your rights. You run for office. And these are the big things. I'll get to the little things.
Right.
For office, the everyday person like me, a woman like me, can run for office. And we should
Hmm.
not fear running for office anymore. We
Right.
need new faces. We
Exactly.
need fresh blood in office. We need people that looks like us, black and brown people, because we're the foot soldiers. We know the issues. When we
Hmm.
get into office, we know where to target. So we need more people like us.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the simple things like diet and exercise,
Hmm.
if you're drinking too much coffee, that's a lot of caffeine. That's bringing on
Right.
on you. It can bring acne. It can bring all of these different things. So diet and exercise, things like walking, just taking a walk, listening to music. Sometimes we have
Hmm.
to unplug, turn that TV off, turn the
Right.
phone off. I don't watch TV every day.
Hmm.
I watch TV. I turn on my TV probably like once a month. That may sound crazy, but once a month I may turn my TV off. I'm not a TV watcher.
Right. Right.
Okay. And then the thing is, we have to include our children as well. Oftentimes, when I say children, I mean 5, 4, 3 year old. Their mental health is also being intact because think about it. Children are a product of their environment. If the parents and the caregivers around them are stressed, it's gonna come off on the kids.
Good point.
So we have to make sure, when you're going for that walk, you take that child to walk, teach your children about mental health. I recently created a book, a coloring book. Simple things like that. Coloring. Coloring might sound for children, but adult can relieve stress because what happened, it takes you away. It takes you away from the current situation. Journaling. Journaling,
Hmm.
what it does, it takes whatever you have, it's an outlet. So you're not internalizing it, you're putting it on that paper. And some people, what they do after they put in the paper, they might rip it up, signifying that, listen, this is over with, this is done. Or some people might keep it so then a year from now they can look back and they can say, hey, this is what I overcome a year
Hmm.
ago. So simple things like that, journaling, diet and exercise, going for walks, listening to music, positive affirmations, something as
Hmm.
simple as that. What I used to do, I used to have sticky notes and I write, today is a great day. You got this. This too shall pass. And just having those positive affirmations around you does something to your psyche. Because when
Hmm.
you see those positive things, that's what it's taking in. It's not only focusing on all the negative things that's going on in the environment, in the external world, but it's also bringing in some type of positivity to soothe and relax your mind as you go through that. And, the main thing when you go through stress is to keep a clear mind.
Hmm.
Have a clear mind, your cognitive function is more clear, it's more intact. That way you can make better decisions. When you're stressed out and your mind is overwhelmed, the decision might just be like spur of the moment and it may not be the right decision. So the main thing you have to focus on is keeping your mind clear. So those
Exactly.
are some things.
Right. That's very interesting because most of my life I've endeavored to eat healthy and
Yeah.
work out, and it may have had, I give the ultimate credit to God,
Hmm.
to survive the health challenges I had. But I do running, I do walking, maybe 2 or 3 miles a day.
Yeah.
I do, I haven't been into like the drinking and smoking, that stuff during my lifetime. And
Hmm.
I do also, try to eat well, low sugar,
Yeah.
salt, organic foods, and things like that. And actually, there's a medical doctor who I hope to get her on in the future, and she gets all into the scientific medical things about
Hmm.
walking and the brain
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
all that stuff. Way over my head. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
it sort of supports the same kind of things you're saying
Yeah.
from a different lens. But I want to get her on hopefully one of these days. I don't know if I'll get it on for Women's History Month, but
Okay.
every month is like Women's Empowerment Month. We can have her next month. So
Yes, yes, it's ongoing.
okay. So that's very good. That's very good. Those are some good suggestions. And reading and knowing your rights is very good.
Yeah.
And also to support what you're saying, I very rarely watch television or Netflix or any of that stuff. But because of what I do, I watch a lot of what's going on in the news. And sometimes it get to be a little depressing, and I
Mhm,
gotta I
mhm.
gotta shut it down for a while just
Yes,
for my own
yes.
mental health.
Same thing over. Breaking news, the same thing 3 and 4 times.
Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, the way their algorithms are, it's the negative stuff,
Hmm.
it's the
Yeah,
negative stuff that tends to draw people in, and that's what they
yes.
push too often. And in our community, people lots of times they talk to me and they say, "Oh, your perspective is different." That's because I delve into the community and find out the majority of the people who are doing positive things like raising their family and who are running
Mhm.
organizations like you and helping others, and I showcase them, so I have a little different perspective because I'm not just getting the mainstream news, the negativity all the time. I see things that people are doing in the community to try to make it better, you
Right.
know? Yeah. So let me ask you and don't forget your coloring book.
Okay.
Don't forget. My question is, what is the best way to contact you and to support your efforts and to, not only your organization, but maybe if you have, your coloring book and other products that you have. What's
Yeah.
the best way to do that?
So my wife website is drfran.info. So once you visit my website, you there's information how to contact me. There's the books. I have one book here I can show you. So this one, Successfully Managing Stress. I
Uh,
recently released this book. So it's Successfully Managing Stress and Avoiding Burnout. So when
mm,
you manage the stress, like everything else, it starts with managing. You have to manage it successful. You can't wait until you're up to here and overwhelmed and then starts to manage your stress. So it gives you little tips and strategies and how to successfully manage your stress. I
hmm
also have another book that I collaborated with 4 or 5 different women for Women's History Month last year.
hmm
Actually, it talks about women in power positions and how they got there, and pretty much just leaving the pathway and the framework for those who aspire to be in those roles. Because the thing is, I'm a professor, but they might be a young 12-year-old said, okay, now how did she get there? How does someone that looked like me get there? So just leaving the roadmap. So that book talks about that. Of more recent, I did, and that shit was in collaboration with this one. It's a coloring book for African American women, and it's not only coloring, it has positive affirmations.
Wow.
So you're coloring, you might see an affirmation that says, I love my skin. So that's
hmm
reinforcing how you feel about yourself. Today is a great day. So you're coloring a picture of a woman that, looks great and happy and celebrating the day, and you're telling yourself today's a great day. But if
Right.
you go on my website, drfran.info, you'll find all of those and everything that I do to support. Definitely come out, support what we're doing, any type of fundraiser, any type of initiative, any collaboration. I love to collaborate with other nonprofit organizations. Feel free to send me a message and I'll definitely get back to you.
Right, got it. And I just want to let our viewers know that in the information that we have on our YouTube channels and also our news blogs, we will have links to Dr. Sampson's sites and where you can pick up her books and other things. So, you know, look out for that on the descriptions of our YouTube channel and also on our news blogs. So I just wanted to say to everyone, if you like the kinds of things we do, we share positive, empowering information from people who are doing great dynamic things in our community and organizations. Subscribe. It's a free subscription to our YouTube channel. Join our email list. On our news blogs, you probably get a pop-up or there's a place on the site where you can join our email list and like, share with others the types of information we have here. This was a very timely uh, discussion today and things that could help us mentally because I know a lot of us are under stress, and this is exactly the kinds of information that could help us. So I want to say thank you, Dr. Sampson, for taking time out of your busy schedule and participating in this interview with us. And I hope that we can do some interviews in the future. Maybe we'll do an interview on your book, down the line, or maybe a couple of your books. So thank you. I really
Sure, thank
appreciate
you. Thank you so much for having me. This was great. I really appreciate. Congratulations of the work that you're doing, and please, we need more like it.
it.
So keep
Oh,
going.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And thank you, viewers. And I hope to see you soon. We've had other interviews recently with dynamic women. So, go look for it on our YouTube channel. So this is Kamal Austin, and I'm signing off. And Dr. Sampson, thank you very much. Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.